third expansion after killing those rocks with the tanks. Looking back at base, he is getting a reactor on the starport, not lifting and switching. Hellions are being made, more tanks, another factory with a tech lab, so he's going really heavy on tanks. Another factory, wow. Looking back at WhiteComet's base, he is getting, that second factory is up. Colossus is being made finally, and nothing from that second robotics facility. He has a lot of minerals stacked up, and still only 2 probes at that main base gas.
Man, that is actually a huge misstep, and the longer that stays there, the worse it'll get. Also, not using the second robotics facility, sort of disappointed in that, but I really like this tank spread from Spades. He's definitely securing that third expansion, and it looks like we're going to see a bit of a push here with these stalkers, but of course, Spades does see it due to his sensor tower, and going out to scout with this barracks. Pretty interesting choice.
Another sensor tower is being made, but gets cancelled right away by WhiteComet.
Oh, and blinking in just so we can get to those tanks nice and quick, but it looks like those Hellions going to try and work on those stalkers, but even with the Infernal Pre-Igniter, there's not going to do the damage they need to.
I have to say, that's a bit too much tank for those stalkers to handle. There are 5 tanks all spread out, so they, even if you blink in against 3 of the tanks, the other 2 still can fire.
Oh my god, we have the 7th factory going down right now. He is going to this huge mech play. There is no recovery from this. There is no transition. You just fully committed to these Hellions and tanks. I'm really surprised that there are almost no light units from WhiteComet, just Colossi, Stalkers, and Immortals. I think there's 1 Zealot in there, but these Hellions, I'm really not sure what he's doing. Maybe going to do some harass at some point. But we do also see 2 more gateways coming down for WhiteComet.
Spades there remaking that sensor tower, so he has 2 sensor tower almost covering the whole entire his side of the map. Planetary Fortress at his 3rd base, and with these he's also starting to make Vikings from that starport, so he's really going into mech play. Looking back at WhiteComet's base, he does have 2 Colossi, but he has to really be careful of those Vikings. Still making Immortals out. He does have 5 warp gates now. Also getting charge upgrade for the Zealots. But his army, looking at the army tab, Spades is way ahead.
Wow, I'm really impressed with this macro from Spades. Almost 70 food ahead. This is definitely going to be a problem for WhiteComet when the big battle occurs, although these tanks definitely not mobile enough. It looks like he's just going to do a slow push across the map, just making sure to take that center and to secure all those expansions on his side.
And here comes the attack, moving in from WhiteComet, but a lot of tanks sieging up, scan going down for the extra range, and Stalkers blinking in by Hellions, more tanks coming in, 2 medevacs. Don't know why those 2 medevacs are there, but these 3 Colossus are forced to move back with this tank line even pretty much undamaged.
Yeah, these are just so many tanks. He has 15 tanks looking at the unit counter. I mean, that is just way too many for these Colossus. Even though there are 3 Colossi, they are just going to get melted away by those siege tanks. And look, still just pumping straight siege tanks and Hellions from those factories, and this is definitely a unique play coming from Spades.
Here comes Spades dropping it down. 4 Hellions, gonna roast some probes. And WhiteComet here retreating back, gonna clean up those, but still taking a lot of probe hits. And looking at WhiteComet, he's just barely getting his 3rd base up, and again, Spades dropping another fleet of 4 Hellions. Gonna scans and see that there's nothing here, so he's gonna wait for the probes to transfer. At the same time, look at here, Spades double expanding, 1 for the gold and 1 for the top left corner with the rocks protecting it.
Man, he's just expanding all over the map, but hold that thought. Here comes a push in the center of the map. Looks like those tanks are going to focus the Immortals. They really should be attacking those Colossi.
Oh, those SCVs are daring, just walking right through that battlefield. But here, the Colossus are trying to clean up these tanks. These tanks on the high ground aren't siege, only 1 siege tanks, but it is still enough for the final Immortal did go down, and WhiteComet here retreating, saving these 3 Colossus.
Well,
and
I think he did do
by Spades here, cleaning up almost no probes. I don't know if they died or get transferred, but by the looks of it, I don't see those probes anywhere, so I'm pretty sure they died to those 4 Hellions.
Yeah, looking at the harvester count, we see 86 for Spades and only 25 for WhiteComet, so those Hellions definitely justifying getting them. I've definitely surprised me, but just roasting all those probes at the natural, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did it to the main sometime.
And this is just amazing play by Spades. Looking at the income tab, he pretty much quadruples, maybe even, I don't even know what's after that, but he he's a lot ahead over WhiteComet right now.
And this is also a great tank spread. Oh, these colossi are going to go down. It looks like just barely saving. That one again is at 33 health out of its total of 300. He is just barely hanging on, and looks like Spades is going to work on securing the center of the map again with all these siege tanks, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he took WhiteComet's gold down here at the 5 o'clock position.
This is such a Brood War-esque push from Spades, building missile turrets, building supply depots, building bunkers everywhere while he does this mech push. Now siege tanks on the low ground, scanning for the high ground. He is going to be able to siege up onto the high ground. Now, with that scan, he is also going to get that gas. WhiteComet is forced to retreat with those 3 Colossi again, but he's just going to walk right in here, but that's way too much tanks to walk up.
Oh, and he is using that high grass to the advantage, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. Those Hellions are getting visions for those tanks. That is so many tanks. He's up to 22, and there's the GG from WhiteComet.
Those white lines of circle from the siege tank. That's just amazing. And there goes the GG, and we are Spades is moving into the final versus SOC.